Hello, and welcome to another episode of Insightful Conversations, where we explore real stories of One Health, international development, and the people making a difference across the globe. I'm Noubia Gribi-Hussain, agricultural economist and founder CEO of We Empower. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Mushtaq Memon, Professor Emeritus at Washington State University and Vice President for Livestock at We Empower. Mushtaq spent many years working with communities and livestock farmers around the world. Welcome, Mushtaq. Always great to see you.
Thank you, Nubia. It is always a pleasure to share these experiences. Today, I'm especially glad we'll be talking about Pakistan, where I made several visits between 2006 and 2022.
Oh, okay. Well, Pakistan has been in the news for political, economic, and social unrest. What drew you there in the first place?
Well, Nubia, as you know, I was born in Pakistan, so I consider Pakistan as my motherland, and the United States, where I live, is as my homeland.
That makes sense. So, what was the purpose of your visit during those years?
Well, the main focus was on improving livestock production in Pakistan. My visit during 2006 and 2008 were focused on the dairy reproduction practices. So we designed training for the trainers programs for veterinarians who would then go back and train veterinary technicians and farm managers in their local communities. In this way, knowledge could multiply rather than remain limited to a few experts.
Very interesting. Please share with our audience, Mushtaq, the background of the trainees and how the training was designed.
Well, the training was limited to 30 veterinarians each time, and they were employed by the Department of Livestock and Artificial Insemination in Sindh province of Pakistan. The trainees were selected by the department, and it was offered at the Sindh Agriculture University in Tandojam, Pakistan. The training was for 2 weeks duration, and the trainees were experienced veterinary practitioner. I would say in the range of maybe 30 to 50 years age.
Okay, sounds very interesting. So, how was the training designed? Was it based on a lecture format or practical exercises?
Well, the training was based on classroom presentations, followed by practicals in the laboratory, and then practice on live cows. On the first day, I asked the trainees what they would like to learn during these 2 weeks of training. There was a long list of topics mentioned that included various diseases they have come across during their practices. However, a clear majority wanted to learn about artificial insemination and pregnancy diagnosis.
Okay. So, did you offer the training focused on those two elements or two topics?
Well, yes or no. I presented my proposal to them with the following goals. Number one was in my classroom presentation, I would cover information related to artificial insemination and pregnancy diagnosis and add some information on most common reproductive diseases that they had mentioned. Number two, they become lifelong learners and learn problem solving skills. So these are the things that I learned in my education and training in the United States. So I wanted to see if I could transfer that information also to them. So they were divided into 10 groups. Each group picked a dairy reproduction topic of their choice. They would search for information on the computer. Each group would work together to prepare a PowerPoint presentation and present at the end of the session for about each group for 20 minutes. We utilized the computer center of the university and recruited volunteer veterinary students to help the trainees.
Let me ask you this. So, why were students asked to help them? Because you mentioned the trainees were experienced veterinary practitioners.
Well, the students were there to help them to do search on computer, the information, which is available out there. As I mentioned, the trainees were older, and in 2008, computer searches were not that commonly done. So the students' interaction with experienced practitioner was also mutually beneficial for the students as well as the trainees. For students, interactions with the trainees provided them opportunities for potential internships and even future jobs in the field after their graduation.
Okay. So that's great thinking, Mushtaq. How did you trainees, I would say, about the chosen topic of artificial insemination and pregnancy diagnosis?
Well, the training was provided in 4 phases. First was reproductive physiology information in the classroom to bring everyone on the same page. The second phase was hands-on training in the lab on cow reproductive tracts obtained from a slaughterhouse. On the tracks, they were able to see whatever they learned in the classroom. The third phase was finding reproductive tracts by palpation per rectum in university-owned cows. The fourth phase was practicing artificial insemination and pregnancy diagnosis on the cows on the farms owned by the livestock department.
This is, again, really interesting. That must have been a rewarding experience for the trainees altogether. So, looking back, Mushtaq, what do you feel was the most impactful part of your program?
Well, for me, it was the empowerment of veterinarians when they realized that they were not just receive services providers, but they also are educators and change makers. It transformed their role in the community. That mindset shift was perhaps the biggest achievement. So, for the audience, I would highly recommend watching a brief video to appreciate the hard work trainees put into the training, which has got a lot of pictures so you can see them. Nubia, all developing countries can benefit from this kind of training. And we at We Empower are really ready to help them.
I bet they can. Thank you so much, Mushtaq. This story is a great reminder that sustainable development begins with building local capacity and trusting communities to carry knowledge forward. And thank you to our listeners today for joining us on insightful conversations. Until next time, stay well and stay safe. Bye bye.